Okay, but we're going to go ahead and get started now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read the medical disclaimer. The information provided is for educational purposes, is not intended as medical advice or a substitute for medical advice of a physician or other qualified healthcare professional. We do not aim to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any illness or disease, and you should always consult with a physician or a healthcare professional for medical advice or information about diagnosis and treatment, and the information in this presentation has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration or any other medical body. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment and just take a moment of silence for the people in Ukraine, sending prayers and love that a speedy resolution is at hand, and for protection for the innocent people and the children. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Moving on. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Dr. Dori Naerbo, and I'm your co-host, right, on today's call. And for those of you who don't know me, I am a clinical researcher and an author of several books. Next slide. Don't do that, Christina.
That later. I'll go back to that slide later.
No.
Okay, so I'll just jump in then. So it's I know we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about me and Dori because you guys know us. Claire too, she's part of all this where we're working with ISNS and really trying to bring you guys this great information. I want to stop and just again say how thankful I am for Dori. You guys know it's not a secret how very much I care about her as a person, and same thing with Claire and with the rest of you. So I just want to say greetings. You guys are all experts in your own field. You're all experts at what you do, whether you're Stephanie or Joni or Jill or Shauna or Claire, all of us, right? Sarah, I could go on and on. There's so many of you guys that were experts, but Dori has really spent a lot of time in the field of research and science. And so, yes, she is the co-host and she does a lot for Root. She also does a lot for ISNS. And again, I just want to say a special thank you, Dori. We don't need to talk about me either because you guys know me. And I'm going to take that away.
Dori. Oh, no, you're not going to
okay.
do that. I'm going to say something about you.
Well, I really do want to say this before. Thank you for saying that about Ukraine, because I think you know this story. Two of my closest friends are over in Ukraine. I used to spend about at least 6 weeks a year with them, and they're with another company. Mm-hmm. And I think the world of them, and I am sending special prayers. But most of the people I know in Ukraine are either not there or they're protected during this. I know there's a lot of people that aren't. And so thank you for bringing that up because this is an especially hard time. And I think also with all the things happening in the world with China and Taiwan and all the different things that are happening, we need to all remember energetically and spiritually to say prayers for other people, because just because we're not under attack right now doesn't mean the other people aren't. So thank you for doing that, Dori. And I think, again, this goes back to one of my many favorite things about you is that you care so much about other people and it's not fake. And I just want to say to the Root community, let's remember all these people in these different countries that I know we all have had difficult lives the last couple of years, but some people have had harder lives than others, and especially when you're going through war. So thank you for bringing that up.
It's mute time. Oh, I didn't have to do that. Okay, so let me just go back to Christina for a minute. So here's what I wanted to say today, Christina, because every week I try to, do something different. So, okay, I can't keep writing off the same thing every time, right? But so I thought I'll do something completely different this time. And so Dr. Christina Rahm is a beacon of light. And people are just naturally drawn to her spirit and always feel a kinship, something familiar. They love her, admire her, and inspired to be like her. This frequency that she possesses and her intention are engineered in all of the products that she formulates through QNet, which stands for Quantum Nano Emulsion Technology. And her unique formulations were developed to regenerate and rejuvenate at a cellular level, thereby reversing your biological clock. And of course, Dr. Rahm is the author of Cure the Causes and Live the Life You Want, Not the Life Prescribed. And many other books are in the pipeline for her right now. And of course, we know that she's educated at Cornell, Harvard Universities in nanotechnology, pharmaceutical management, nutrition, and she holds multiple doctorates. Amazing woman, a humanitarian at heart. But the thing that about Christina that I love is her priority to her family, her dedication to people. And even though there's so many people that want to, to come in contact with you, but you only have so many hours in the day. But don't think that she's not aware of that, because she knows it, and that you exude all of this positivity and love to everyone. So that's what I wanted to say about you today.
Thank you, Dori. I needed that actually today. So thank you. I don't need to hear great things about me, but I do want people to know that I really care.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that, because I want to tell you, there's a lot of people that watch these and then, or will later watch these, and Dori cares, I care, Claire, we all care, right? It matters to us. And I think that's the biggest difference in what we're doing. There's a lot of nanotechnologists, not a lot. There's nanotechnologists in the world, and there's lots of research scientists. There's lots of people that do flower remedies like you, Claire, but it comes to really caring about people, and that's what I think matters. So when you combine people like Kathy, Joe, Shauna, Joni, all these people, right? There's so many of you guys that we all have the same motives and we have the same potential to really impact everyone. So thank you so much, Dori. And today I'm so excited because I get to present with you detoxification, because Dori and I have something great in store for everyone. We're talking about restore, but I said in store. What we're getting ready to do is we're going to do a series on detoxification. We were going to do certification, but I have another surprise for you guys. I ended up, I have 1,000 documents, over 1,000 right now, that we're working on in the office, that are all third-party testing documents with everything from the key ingredients to the utilization process and the heavy metal testing, all of it. And then we've actually ordered even more. So while we're finalizing that, and I feel like, Dori, you're working with me on this, and as soon as we get it compiled, you're going to be reviewing it. It's never going to be over for you or for me, right? We've got so much work to do for the root products. So Dori and I have big plans to do research, not just in Cyprus, not just in Sweden, but all over the world, including the United States. And we're going to be rolling that out to you guys soon. But in the process of that, we've worked on with Tiger and Jayla and other people in the office, a detoxification deck. And it's so long that we have to do a series of it. And we're focusing on each product. And we're going to talk about how each of our ingredients don't just provide and protect, but they also help with the detoxification experience. So I'm really excited about this series, Dori, that we're presenting. I think it's going to be extremely interesting to the root community, because they're going to be able to go to their customers and the people around them and share even additional information than we've had before. So I'm extremely excited that you and I are doing this and that we're able to present it.
Fantastic.
So we're talking about Restore today, and you guys know a lot about Restore and the key ingredients, but we're also going to be talking about how it assists with detoxification. We're even bringing up research articles that actually have the word detoxification in it. So you guys can see that it's not just clean slate that's helping with this. We have a line of products, and Dori just said it, with the goal of helping revamp, re-age. I like to say re-age because, your cells are not the actual age that you are. And we want to bring it back to when the cells were younger. But you can't do that unless you help the body detox while you're providing and protecting. So again, I'm very excited about this series. And we're going to talk about just Restore today and how it helps with the detoxification experience. And Restore has great ingredients like the black cumin seed, resveratrol, turmeric, raspberry ketones, apple cider vinegar, aloe vera, D-Ribose. And what's great about that is that helps you not just with your immune system, but also with the weight loss and your metabolism. Because if you can get the sludge out right of your body, then it helps just naturally with your metabolism. So we're going to go into all of that today. And Dori, you're not doing the deck because whoever's doing it, I can tell we're not going on to the next slides. Or are we doing that in
I'm not doing, there we
Yeah.
go.
Okay, because
I guess we just say, just tell Chris next. And then
Next.
she'll
Next, because we're going to go on right now to, you guys know Restore, and it's amazing because of the anti-inflammatory benefits. And Dori, you know this, like one of the things I'm trying to do is the third-party testing, the cell assay testing, so we can really show what it's doing while it's in the human body, not just in vitro, but also in vivo, so that we can explain it to people. And this will also help with what we're doing for the patient registries, where we're going to be looking at everything under ISNS. But what's interesting is, one of my favorite ingredients has always been the black seed oil, or Nigella sativa. And the reason for me that it's so important is because historically, this particular oil that comes from this seed and this plant, it does so many amazing things, and it protects the body against free radicals. We know that there's lots of research on it. It protects the brain health. It helps in treating things like asthma or COPD or different respiratory illnesses. We know that it's helped with a lot of people that have heart issues. Like, I love the fact, Dori, it makes me feel great that you're taking it every day, because I know that in the past you had issues with the heart,
4 times a day.
Yeah. So for me too, like for me, because my family, we have so many heart issues. We have problems with Alzheimer's, dementia, cancer. This particular oil is so fantastic. And it's kind of like the zeolite. If you can manufacture it in a way that it's bioavailable and it's really goes into the system, then you have more efficacious results, right? Because it's not just a product, it's how you make it, how you source it, how you do the final product. And so this really helps from everything from antifungals. You guys, this is a natural antifungal. So what does that mean? That means if you have yeast in your body, and we know we do, that means if it's growing and proliferating, if you have yeast infections, jock itch, I could go on and on and on, because we actually know that with some people in particularly, they have a problem with yeast. I'm one of them. My family, since we're little, we always have had issues with yeast. And so that can cause cancer, that can cause parasites to grow, that can cause your virus to be worse, it can cause bacterial infections to be worse. And to know that this is a natural antifungal is fantastic. So that's why some of you guys use this on your skin and you don't actually know the diagnosis, but things will go away after you use it a while, because it naturally is helping with viral particles, bacteria, fungus, parasites. And even though we can't make claims, it does a lot of things. It improves the semen in men. That means your semen count with fertility. It helps. We actually know that there's people that cannot get pregnant, women and men, that when they take this product, or they take black cumin seed that's made in a way like I made it, then it helps people with fertility. So if you guys aren't trying to get pregnant, just remember that when you're taking the Restore. And it reduces all kinds of inflammation, including even rheumatoid arthritis. There's data on it. But today we're going to talk about the effects of the seed and how it actually helps activate glutathione. And it helps with the relationship between the markers with the DNA. I think it's great because we usually don't think black cumin seed and detoxification, right? But today we're going to talk about it and talk about why it does that. And it's because of the pathways and how it impacts it. Just so you guys know, your body, it basically causes the immune system and the pathways within the immune system to simultaneously work, so that while it's protective, it's also detoxing things out of your body by basically turning on the metabolism that causes it to leave the body. So if there's things that don't need to be in there, it's helping the body get rid of them. And it has such strong antioxidants. And it's because of the thymoquinone I never say it right, Dori, and I've worked with this product for probably 20 years. But it really helps connect those pathways that cause the detoxification pathways to work even better, so things leave the system. And I think it's amazing because you guys, we haven't really exposed you all to this, although Dori, maybe you guys have talked about it with Clayton, or maybe you've done something around it, but I haven't. And I really wanted this to bring this, I want to bring this to people's attention, because we know that this is effective in this way. And it really is something that I think that we haven't brought forth to the public. I don't think we've told the root community about it. So I'd love to hear your input on it, because again, this is something that I think is extremely important that everyone understands. It's not just providing and protecting, it's also helping the body detoxify.
Yes, and not only that, but it also helps with your stem cells as well.
Yeah.
So
Yes, it
that's,
does. It helps
actually,
significantly with stem
we
cells.
should actually create a deck for that. A note to self.
Yeah, because Dori, I get questions all the time about, can this help? Can your products, or can the root products help with the telomeres? Can the root products help with stem cells? And guys, listen,
Absolutely.
your body is amazing, right? You don't have to have an IV infusion of stem cells to actually help the body regenerate and help the body grow things. So if you think about it like this, if you can actually have cancer come into the body to kill or change a cell, why can't you send something positive in to do the reverse? So just remember that when you're taking this product. This is a phenomenal product. And one of the key ingredients is the black cumin seed. The next formula that we're talking about, or ingredients, is turmeric. And turmeric is amazing. Mm-hmm. You guys know, because we're using it even in the 0N, but we also have it in Restore. I've said this before to you guys. I want to tell you again, I could not get the manufacturers to make Restore the way I wanted because of the turmeric, because they could not put the concentration levels I wanted and the method I wanted into one sachet. And they were like, there's just no way we can do it. And they kept wanting to lower the amount and the way I was making it. And I kept saying, well, I got to find someone else. I kept going back to different manufacturers. And finally, we were able to produce Restore. And many of you guys know it took over 9 months and it took years in development. So I want you guys to know, when you take that Restore packet, it does have the potential to prevent and treat chronic diseases, not just because it can provide and protect, but because it also is one of those things that can help with detoxification. It fights the free radicals. And when it fights the free radicals, it's able to actually help things, again, leave the system. Detoxification is something, cleaning the body inside is something, again, guys, that's a daily thing. And when we hear detoxification, we all think chelation therapy. We even think like zeolites, right? We think of all these different things, but I don't think we're thinking, and I don't think we're talking about the fact that the ingredients you guys are taking in products like Restore are not just providing, again, not just protecting the body, not just giving the nutrients you need, but it's also helping you reverse and get rid of the things you don't need. And I think that's extremely important. This particular article, you guys, talks about detoxification and antioxidants. It talks about curcumin. And it looks at the role in rats, so in animals, in experimenting when they were exposed to mercury. So Dori, I have to ask you this. Are you familiar with this, with turmeric? Like, have you done much research on that? Because again, I feel like I haven't done enough on it. I feel like we haven't talked enough about it. And I would love to hear your input, because when we talk mercury and how we get rid of mercury, or how we get rid of lead, or how we get rid of heavy metals, we just think of clean slate. We're not thinking of the other products that we're taking. But because of the levels of turmeric that we have in this Restore, I wanted to bring this to your attention. In this particular study, mercury concentrations in the tissue were decreased with the treatment with curcumin. And I wanted to bring that out, Dori, because I think it's really important. I think the next bullet point is very important too, when it talks about mRNA expression levels, and how, again, it decreased what was going on negatively in the body by putting in the turmeric into the body, into these rats. And I think that's hugely significant. I've said many times, the closest DNA to our DNA is mouse murine. It's called murine. It's mouse DNA or rat DNA. And it's really important to me that you guys understand that this is helping reverse actually mercury induced serum in the body of these animals, and that's potentially what it's doing to humans, because we know that we're very similar. So again, Dori, I know I jumped in, but I'd love to ask what your input is on this, because this is something that I don't think we've talked about enough.
Well, it's definitely something that we haven't spoken about. I mean, we've spoken about, all the restoring ingredient. We did a whole deck on each ingredient and went into every single ingredient, but it's so broad. Turmeric, the curcumin, just like the black seed oil, is huge. I mean, it can go. I mean, we're talking about up regulating, down regulating tumor suppressor genes and things like that. But in the turmeric is very interesting because it also can help with, again, I like to talk about what the things I know, like, for example, stem cell proliferation, right? And in terms of neurogenesis and things like that. And the thing about the detoxification is that in order for your stem cells to work properly, we need to detoxify. We need to have a good environment. Your stem cells are your repair mechanism. So then when you have a good environment that it can go into, then it can do a better job, right? The whole process of reversing of the age, and then also, of course, reducing the oxidative stress as well.
Yeah, it's really important. And I think that, there's further research that needs to be done. And, Dori, I don't know how we measure levels when we do the registry we're doing, but again, we're going to have great results. We know that because we have case studies and we can see time after time after time how Restore, for example, is helping people in different areas. But again, I think the one thing we're not talking about is it's helping, again, because it's providing the body with what it needs, but also it's getting rid of the things the body doesn't need. And this goes back to light and dark, right? People that have good energy, people that have light, they want to be around other people that are light. They don't want to scare people. They don't want to be angry. They want to be around these people that are positive. Same thing with people that are negative or angry all the time. They don't really like being around people that are happy. They don't really like being around people that have this light because they're so unhappy, right? And it's the same way in the cells in the body. If you put things in that are good for the body, they almost naturally get rid of the things that aren't good for the body. But I wanted to point out this to you guys so you could understand there is a scientific component to it as to also why that's happening in the body and why you guys are feeling better, why you're looking better, and why sometimes it takes a process. So there's some people that will start with Restore and they'll say, oh my gosh, I didn't feel great the first couple of days or for the first couple of weeks. Well, your body's adjusting to something being better. And that's just normal. Even if you're in, and I say this all the time, an unhealthy relationship, it's hard to get out. So when you get into a new relationship, even if it's perfect, you're not used to it, right? So that's the same environment in your body. We've got to put good things in. We've got to get rid of the bad things. And this is one of the key ingredients that helps with not just providing good things, but detoxifying the bad things out. So, and the next thing I think we need to talk about is Resveratrol. Can you go back? Because we just went. Okay, thank you. Resveratrol is another key ingredient that is great for your body. I love Resveratrol. I love the antioxidant properties. It reminds me a lot of black cumin seed, a little bit different than turmeric when you look at its compounds and how it's what's really inside of Resveratrol. But it has tons of health benefits. So synergetically, when you put it with black cumin seed and with turmeric, it does amazing things. We know it can suppress cancer cells. We know it can help with Alzheimer's. By the way, we also know that about turmeric. We also know that about black cumin seed. So there's a common theme here. We know it reduces skin inflammation. It lowers blood pressure. It doesn't have quite as good of an effect on fungus as black cumin seed and turmeric, but it has great effects with viruses, and I'm sure you guys know that, and with certain bacteria. When I lean on the turmeric and the black cumin seed, I'm leaning on that for antifungal effects and for the parasitic effects. Resveratrol, though, is extremely good with the pathways that really help, again, with the heart and the brain and the GI. They really help those pathways work even better. I have a lot of people that ask me about Restore and how it is with insulin as far as people that have diabetes. I have a lot of people ask me, can you take this product when you're when you're doing like dialysis. And I'm just going to tell you guys, I'm very careful how I answer things. I know you guys get extremely frustrated with me, but I wanted you to know that in particularly, this is something that people have used on dialysis. They start with like a teaspoon, so their body gets rid of it. And so their body adjusts, because when you're on dialysis, you have to worry about things. We don't give medical advice, but we do have case studies where we have had a lot of people that it's helped in those different areas. Diabetes is another area. So people think of resveratrol as like this sweet plant because it's associated with wine, it's associated with grapes, but it has so many antioxidants in this particular ingredient that it's fantastic as something that really helps with metabolizing enzymes and helps the body really regulate and do what it needs to do to be a successful system inside. So this next study talks about resveratrol and how it modulates drug and carcinogen metabolizing enzymes in healthy volunteers. And it really goes over the fact of the cytochrome P450 and the detoxification enzymes. And that's a pathway that I've done a lot of work with because I've worked on human monoclonal antibodies. And we always look at the P450 pathways when we're designing things. Dori, I'm sure you do too with the stem cells. So it's a pathway that's very important. And if you can activate detoxification enzymes, you can really help the body again regulate and really process and perform better. And so, and I want to point this out, you know, glutathione is a hot topic because people are making products for the glutathione. And I actually have a product I worked on that has it in it and helps the body. But what I don't think we talk about again enough is the fact that Restore is one of those products, just like Relive Greens, that actually can activate that pathway and help the body utilize that so it can fight things off. Because a lot of people, I want you guys to know, this is a pathway that's very important. A lot of people don't recognize that that particular pathway helps with detoxification, but it also helps the body get rid of things like viruses and bacteria. So when this current pandemic came out, glutathione was one of the things that was used in some countries to really help fight the viruses. Well, we have that pathway in what we do with Restore because of the different ingredients that we use. And I just wanted to make sure that I pointed it out because it's really important that you're inhibiting carcinogenic events right in the body. And when I say carcinogenic, I want to explain that a little bit. Carcinogenesis is not just cancer. And Dori, I'd love for you to jump in here. You know, when something's carcinogenic, it's bad for you. And it can cause cancer, it can cause different things, but guess what? It can cause a lot of autoimmune disorders. It can cause the body to have hormonal like issues throughout the body, cardiovascular events. And I want you guys to know that. So when you see that word, here's what I see, here's what I feel when I see the word carcinogenic. I think death. I think this is horrible for my body. I think I just want to get rid of it. I need to activate enzymes that will get rid of anything carcinogenic in my body. So Dori, do you have anything you want to say to that?
I was just thinking about when I was in university in my physiology class, our professor said, we all have cancer cells. We're all throwing these cells around, but our bodies are able to recognize it and get rid of it. So, but again, we need to constantly be, well, we need to detoxify. And let me,
Pustíš si ju nebo ne?
Já ji mám už.
A jde tě zvuk?
let me mute.
Ale posloucháte.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's something that we all have. It's kind of like we're born with more bacterial cells. We know there's fungus all around us as well. But to your point, Dori, we've got to make sure that we regulate the body so that we have this equilibrium, right? This balance so that our body's healthy. And again, this goes back to anti-aging. This goes back to getting rid of immune disorders. You know, our goal as a community at Root is not to claim we do anything. Our goal is to give back to the body what it really needs to fight the fight it needs to fight, and then to support itself with what it has. And that's really the theme overreaching. And we have talked about Restore many times, but we haven't focused on detoxification. And I think that's why It's very important to bring these points out. When you say the word detoxify, I also want you guys to think getting rid of cells or helping the cells not be so old, right? Because that's part of this whole process. Your cells need to be healthy. They need to be able to fight. We need to get rid of the bad things you don't need. The next thing we want to talk about is raspberry. And I probably shouldn't have raspberry ketones on this. We need to take that off because we use raspberry ketones in the United States. We're using raspberry in Europe because of the different regulations. But raspberries overall, the red raspberry is how I'll say this, they do a lot of things. This particular ingredient, this particular ingredient does a lot of things. It's so rich in vitamins and minerals. It has lots of antioxidants. It helps the body in everything from aiding in weight loss by supporting metabolism to the fact that it also has been known and used for lowering dementia and helping with Alzheimer's. It can improve vision. It can help with the liver. It can also help with the kidneys. That's not on here. Help with the heart. That's on here. Diabetes, cancer. And I want to say this, there's been lots of studies where they used red raspberries where they've had a reduction in weight, a reduction in obesity. I remember being in Cornell, and I don't know, Dori remembers this, they actually talked about raspberries in one of the presentations and talked about how it helps the body support itself. And they showed us studies, and I actually did one of my papers, Dori, just on raspberries and about obesity. And I think it's interesting because there was so much information. So I brought up one of those for today. And this talks about the intake decrease of oxidative stress in obese diabetic mice. And so the results showed that when they had this intake of raspberries, again, Dori, do you see how many times we have glutathione in this?
Yes,
it basically enhances it. And that's why I wish when we launched Restore, we would have talked about that more, because that's such a keynote. And Dori, we're working on marketing. So we need to make sure at ISNS that when we look at all the third-party testing, we bring that in, because it's really important to point that out to everyone. Going back to this, you guys, it was really able to help these mice with their oxidative stress. So their obesity levels were basically controlled and lowered. And that doesn't really say this on the bullet points, and I apologize, I should have added a couple more here, but it's because it enhances the detoxifying cell defense because of this raspberry intake. And they actually identify in some of the articles the detoxifying pathways again that raspberry activates. And I think because it's such a topic that a lot of people aren't talking about, no one has. So it's kind of neat that we're bringing this up in the root community. Mark my words, because we're doing this, a lot of other companies will too, a lot of other people will too. But I wanted you guys to know it does enhance the ability for the body to detoxify by, again, activating these pathways. And it's interesting. One of the reasons glutathione is known to be so amazing and people order it just in its concentrated self is because it does do these things, but we have it naturally in all the ingredients in Restore. So I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the apple cider vinegar. And you guys know that I love apple cider vinegar. It helps with the micro emulsions when you're creating a product so that you can do micro and nano emulsions naturally. And we're not going to focus on that for today, but I wanted you guys to know that that was one of the reasons I used it. I wanted to be able to activate it, and then I wanted to provide the body also with an ability to naturally produce pre and probiotics, which, you know, we added them to the Relive grains, but in Restore, I wanted the body to be able to produce it by activating it with the apple cider vinegar in the actual packets, in the actual formula. We do know that apple cider vinegar helps with the gut and the immune system. I think we all know that. We know that it increases the potassium intake. It supports your immune system, aids in weight loss. Again, this goes back, you can see the point about bacteria. It naturally helps the body produce that so that you create a healthier microbiome. And it soothes the skin, heals acne, promotes pH balance. I used it though, again, to help activate the formula. I wanted to help with the microbiome. I wanted to help it naturally create the pre and probiotics. But it's interesting, this actual ingredient also, again, has studies with mice and how it helps with oxidative stress, and it helps with cholesterol levels as well as heart and blood pressure. In this particular study, the results concluded that the lipid levels in the erythrocytes, liver, and kidneys, triglycerides, I think we've shown this before actually, Dori, cholesterol level, serum, in all of it, that they did better when they were on the apple cider vinegar is really the summary, because this is a pretty heavy, and I apologize for this. Some of these research articles that I'm showing are pretty intensive on the research side, and I should have probably put things on here that made it easier to understand, but I want to point to this again. If you look at your second bullet, erythrocyte reduced, glutathione were decreased. Again, because you're targeting glutathione, you're helping the body produce things that will get rid of things that shouldn't be in the body. And I don't know if I've explained this correctly, Dori, so if you want to jump in, because I feel like when I talk about the detoxification pathways, unless people have focused on it or unless we've spent more time, it's hard to understand. And I don't want to confuse people. I just want them to understand what the product's doing while they're using it.
I think it's a really big subject, these detoxification pathways. And what we could do on another call is actually do a call about detoxification pathways, and then actually show how the products actually fit into those pathways. So then they'll have a different way of looking.
Yeah, I agree, because it's such a heavy topic. It's not even something you naturally study. Like when Dori and I went to Cornell, it's not like a typical topic. They touch upon it, but there's not a lot of time spent on it. So I would love to spend more time, but for today, what I wanted to show you guys is how it does activate the pathways that influence the ability for the body, again, to detoxify and to support itself. And that's really what you're talking about. One of the reasons glutathione is so important is because you've got to reduce the different pathways that aren't needed there. And you do that sometimes by actually taking it or taking ingredients that will activate it. And again, this is what this particular product does. And in almost every area, it's just hard to go into the scientific facts of it and make it simple. And I tried, and we targeted this. Dori and I both reviewed the deck, but I still feel like we have a lot to do. So after we get through this, I'll let you guys ask questions. We're going to move on to aloe vera. We've talked about aloe vera before. I think you guys know that it helps with viral infections. I think you guys know that aloe vera is known to really help with blood pressure, blood sugar levels. It accelerates wound healing. What people don't think about a lot, though, even though they know it will help with bacteria on the skin or a virus or fungus, or they understand that it helps with the burn. All you have to really start realizing in your mind is when you put it inside your body, it's doing that too. So when you put it on your skin and you have a burn and it heals it, that's the mechanism that's helping inside the body. And it does that again by inhibiting the inflammation. It activates certain enzymes, so the body is able to get rid of things it doesn't need and support itself when it does need things. So even though we think of it as a product for the skin, it can help from inside the body with everything from your blood pressure to your teeth, to your constipation with your GI. Because a lot of people say to me, well, when I take Restore, I use the bathroom. And I'm like, great. And they're like, is that good? And I'm like, yeah, because one of the key ingredients is aloe vera. And when you take aloe vera, it naturally helps you with constipation, because what it does is it activates the enzyme where you use the bathroom. And that also, by the way, helps with metabolism. By the way, it also helps the body with the levels so that you can lose weight faster. And that's one of the reasons when we launched this particular product, I talked about it a lot. We know it's great for the skin. It's not just the Resveratrol. It's not just the turmeric, the black cumin seed, aloe vera, all of them together really help your skin with the aging, the wrinkles, and activation of collagen. Again, this is a product that can be taken internally, but it can also be used in the skin. And Dori, I don't know if you're still doing your face mask.
I am, but now I'm going to put it with the greens.
You haven't done that yet?
No, I haven't.
Has Claire?
I think so. Look at her. She looks like
Yes.
she's done now.
Thank you, Claire, for.
It really works well. Nice green face.
Yeah, well, what I like about when I use the grains, not to switch subjects because I'm doing it, I shouldn't. I like it because I make a mask, right? And you know how you love clay, or I love clay mask. Of course, clay would have some kind of, never mind, I'm not going to go there.
We're gonna have to red flag you.
I would never, I wasn't going to say anything inappropriate. I just know he would.
I'm just kidding. I'm just,
You know, I was not going to say anything. The relive grains I love because if you have dark spots, like I have two here, I'm always worried about in here, and they really help. Of course, Restores helps tremendously, but it really helps when I scrub it off. And then of course the new mist that we'll be changing some of the formulation that helps tighten the pores as well. But it's great because the aloe vera in this particular product, again, you have high concentrations and it's really able to help internally. And so you guys, when you ask me, why is this making me use the bathroom? It's a combination of the raspberry, the apple cider vinegar, and the aloe vera that really helps regulate. But I can tell you black cumin seed turmeric can also cause it. So all of those together synergetically are helping you regulate your body. So if that's happening, all you need to think of is, oh my gosh, great. My metabolism's getting better. I'm helping my body get rid of all the sludge. Great, right? That needs to be your thought process when you're thinking through it.
and it also depends on how much you're taking too.
Oh yeah. Well, Dori, you take more than, well, I know people that take 5 a day. And you
Well, I
take
think I remember calling you on
Yeah.
my little camping trip.
You did call me. She goes, oh my goodness, I'm loving taking Restore all the time, but I'm using the bathroom. I said, of course.
That was 5. That was 5. So I've cut back. 4 is my number now.
Well, and you guys don't know Clayton, and not to talk too much about him today. We've got people we've got 3 different groups, I think, from different cities in today. Forgot to tell you about that, Dori. But anyway, we got people from out of town. And Clay eats more than any human being I've ever met in my life. Anyone. And I was, my ex-husband was a professional football player. I mean, I've been around really big guys that are 6'7", huge men. Clay eats more than anybody I know, but he detoxes. So he takes the clean slate, he takes the Restore. And I can tell you if he's had too much to eat, he will take 3 of those packets because he knows that's helping him regulate, right? Because it's not really just the calories you put into your body, it's what you take out. And that's something that's not talked about enough. And I think it's because most scientists don't deal with detoxification and they haven't studied it and they haven't, there's no monetary tag to that. But I wanted you guys to know whether you're on a keto diet or whether you're on a Atkins diet or any of the diets, Mediterranean diet, this particular ingredient really, or product really helps with the regulation and help gets rid of the sludge in your body. It really does. The grains do too, but we won't get off on that subject. So this talks about viral infection induced hepatic periportal fibrosis. And it talks about how aloe vera assists the body basically in the fibrosis of the liver. The liver, guys, is hard to treat. That's what I'm going to say. You have liver cancer, it's not great, right? So we know that, and when I say that, I don't mean that you can't help yourself when you have that there's not things you can do, but it's particularly hard to treat. And it's because of all the inflammation and everything that is occurring in the liver. The liver has a lot of work to do. So when it's not working, of course, there's a lot of issues. And this showed that the aloe vera in this particular situation was able to help significantly reduce the symptoms and reduce what was happening when the person had the fibrosis markers. So I want to read the last bullet to help explain that better. The serum levels of the fibrosis markers were also reduced significantly after treatment. That particular bullet for me is very important. We know the enzymes are activated. We know, again, detoxification pathways happen with aloe vera. But I think what's really important is to show that after 12 weeks, this was able to help significantly. So just so you guys know, when you use that word significantly, it has to be a statistical significant difference. So this was able to help tremendously, basically, is what that means. There's more efficacious. It wasn't just because of some placebo, right? It was because of what was used in the study, and it was aloe vera. So you guys that asked me questions about Restore and the liver, there's your answer right there. I'd rather send you guys an article because I don't like to make claims, but that shows you how it is able to really help the body And of course, if it's helping the liver, it's typically helping your bladder, your kidneys, your heart, et cetera, because the organs are connected and they all utilize certain pathways to help, again, with detoxification and also with providing the body with what it needs. The last thing we're talking about is the D-ribose. And D-ribose does a lot with mitochondrial function. And I know you know that, Dori. It really restores the energy level in the body, improves heart function, helps with fatigue. A lot of people ask me, why did you use D-ribose? And look, anyone that's studied or followed anything I've done, it's something I love to use. Again, it's another activator. It's another thing that can help with nano and micro emulsions. It was helpful in the QNEC technology that I used, but also it gives people energy in a good way. So even though some people know it as a sugar, it actually is something that is very important to your extracellular matrix. And I'm a huge matrix person in the body because I deal with energy levels. I'm not just a matrix person out here inside your body energetically. You've got to have things that get the body going. And D-ribose is one of my favorite things. It enhances the muscle function. People think of it as something that could hurt with diabetes or insulin. That's not true at all. There's tons of studies that actually show the reverse. It helps with metabolism. It helps the body create the energy it needs to basically lose weight and fight obesity, help with insulin. It's just that you have to really look into it. And this was one of the ingredients and one of the things we talked about when we were at Cornell, so that we would understand exactly what D-ribose is and what it does for the body. So again, it does support the detoxification because of its ability to help with mitochondrial function. And I think we should have one more slide that talks about that. Yep, here it is. It helps with the signaling pathways, guys. So it can, again, help the body cellularly get rid of things and then support the body so that it has the energy it needs to really produce the things it needs. So if you look at the bullets, it shows it significantly improved the function, even in congestive heart failure patients, which is huge. Did they ever talk to you about it, Dori, when you had, it's amazing to me when people have heart problems or they have significant issues and they don't get into nutrition. I think you guys have talked about
they never do that. But I know this from the stem cell side of things, because this is actually one of my protocols for our cardiovascular patients, was the triad for cardiac health, which is, of course, the D-ribose, of course, the L-carnitine, and then the coenzyme Q10. But D-ribose is an amazing product, as you mentioned, with the ATP, the adenosine triphosphate. This is you know, from the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cells, right? The energy source. You need that, and also I think I read somewhere where not just for the heart, but also for liver. If you have a failing liver, D-ribose helps there. I mean, it does so many things. It's really essential for the cell's energy.
Absolutely. The mitochondria, and I know you know this, is so important to the functioning. You have to protect that mitochondria. You need to shield it, which I think is why we have the new product, Mitochondria Defense Shield, that's coming out. That we have to have ISNS review, but it has quercetin, and it has NAD, and it has all those different things to really protect the mitochondria, because it's such an important factor as we fight viruses and bacteria, all the things that are around us. We've got to shield it. It's also something very important to the heart, like you said, and there's certain people I love that have had heart issues. So for me, it's very important to be able to produce things for you, for my mother, for me, you know, that can protect our heart. So, you know, what's great is that the greens actually have quercetin and NAD and all that stuff in it, but I thought it would be great if the root community had something that they could take, you know, so that you could really focus on the mitochondria health of the body.
And all of these products too, I mean, it's going to help reduce your oxidative stress for one thing. And when you reduce your oxidative stress, you're going to have better reserves in your antioxidants.
Absolutely.
Your antioxidants are not going to become depleted this way.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's so funny when this came out, gosh, what was it, 4 years ago, where it said that you can live to be 130. And I say this all the time. It was on the front page of like Time Magazine, you know, Newsweek, all these articles. I'm like, yeah, you can, if you do what you need to do inside your body. You know, that's why I think I love what we're doing, all of us on this phone call. We're learning things. Look, you guys all have a million things to do, but you're on this call because you want to understand how you can share with others, how they can protect their body. I really love this slide deck, except for it's heavy, concentrated on scientific terms. I don't know how to say that. It's too heavy, I think. So what I agree with Dori, we need to make it easier because you guys are going to be dealing with customers. But for those of you guys that have questions, I would love to open this up to questions, because this is like just so you guys know, this is a slide deck that actually you would be taught in a master's or PhD program. This is not a slide deck that you typically present to a community. However, I really wanted you all, because a lot of the people that attend these calls that Dori and I are on, they do understand, they do want the information, and if they don't understand right away, you guys look it up. I know there's a problem in translation, and I worry because your translators that are, listening to me, I don't know if you heard me, Dori, I was trying to like take out the big words and make it easier, because it's impossible to translate some of these words. I'm sure Google Translate couldn't translate all this, but I want to open it up to questions so that you guys can ask, because I know this has been a particularly hard talk, especially if you don't speak, if English isn't your predominant language. So I apologize for that, but I think it's very needed so you guys can understand how this really is helping your bodies and how this is helping others. And hey, wait a minute, why when I take Restore do I feel like I'm losing weight? Hey, why when I take Restore do I feel like I'm not in so much pain? Because Dori, I can tell you this, I can't, person after person after person. I was in Ethiopia, and the main advisor to the president was, and then the main advisor for the prime minister, we're meeting, and they're like, can you just please leave as much of that Restore as you can, and those little yellow pills. Like, please leave us as much as you can, we need this. And I said, I ran out, but they said, the one man, and I think I told you guys this, I don't want to mention his name because I'm not sure he would let me mention his name, but he had for 5 years had pain in his knee. Mm-hmm. And after Restore, he didn't have the pain. And he was like, I just want it so I don't have to have pain. He was like, when are you coming back? And I was like, well, we're going to try to get this into Ethiopia. But the bottom line, it's because of the ingredients that are in the product and how they were made and how they were utilized in a formula. And just so you guys know, we had allergen testing, third-party testing on every key ingredient in this deck, which you guys will end up having exposure to. We had soy, nut, wheat, I can go on and on, third-party testing to make sure that we had an analysis, and we are sending it off for even more information, because I want you guys to see the cell assays. I want you to see actually what it does in the human body as far as anti-aging and antioxidant stress. Even though we know, I want you guys to have that information so that you have all of the intelligence you need to go out there and have a discussion surrounding this product. So do you want to field some calls, Dori? Some questions.
Well, I think if they have a question, they should just raise their hand and we can answer them.
Okay.
Teresa was first. So go ahead and oh, look at them all. Teresa, can you unmute yourself?
Unmute. I'm here.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what my question is I don't have a thyroid, and what I've heard in my past, I mean, it doesn't seem to affect me, but what I've heard is apple cider vinegar affects thyroid patients in a negative way.
Yeah. It can, if you use a large amount of apple cider vinegar. I'm sure you know, I don't mean to get too much into this subject. I mean, salt can, water can. I don't know if you know, so there's all this list of things that can. We actually have had good case studies with people that have had issues with thyroids, and I know that Dori probably knows that have taken this product. But I do tell people, again, to check, because another issue is some of the thyroid medication will say, like, have a contraindication to it. Again, we've had great results with people, but you should always be aware of that and then make your own decision on what you think with the product. I didn't use a lot of apple cider vinegar. You probably see that in the label. I used it to activate.
Okay.
Which leads me to another topic. I know we're going to go on to the next person, but I'll give you an example, like with the D3 and the vitamin C and the zinc. You guys
Okay.
probably know this, lanolin and corn are usually used in those ingredients. In the natural barrier support, I used a oil, a derivative in the machinery to help me get to the final product. The list of how I made that product is 2 pages. In fact, Chris is doing this slide deck. It's actually more than 2 pages. There's tons of data on how that was made. But we were able to get from the manufacturer, for example, because I kind of was adamant, right? I don't want corn in the product. I don't want anything that is not natural in the product. And we kept trying to source. So the bottom line is I used a derivative, but not corn. And so people had asked me, for example, is corn in your natural barrier support? No. And well, how did you make it? Well, we don't give out all that information, but the reason I'm bringing that up is because when it comes to apple cider vinegar, I utilize that, like I said, when I was doing the slides, mainly because I was trying to activate and make it more bioavailable rather than just because of the ingredient, if that makes sense. I was trying to use it as a catalyst. When I use something as a catalyst or as an activator, I'm usually dispersing it and using it. It's kind of like when I talk about clean slate. And I feel like I don't want to get too much into this, but I'm utilizing it so that I can use it as part of the preparation for a micro emulsion or nano emulsion. And so, but the consequences of that is you still have some great things that it does. There may be some people that can't take it though, because they may, it may bother them, but we have had some case studies where we have really great results with this product with thyroid issues.
I just want to add real quick that I feel better than I've ever felt since I've had, and I was removed in 2009. So I feel amazing. So I just wanted to add that, but I didn't know what the real result was for the apple cider vinegar. So it has not affected me at all. So
yeah, I have a neighbor actually that had surgery, and same thing. She's doing fantastic on it. It's helped her more than anything. But I'm glad you brought it up, because I think it's always great to bring up any concern, so people are aware of it.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Thank
Thank you so much, Teresa. I appreciate you too.
Okay, up next, Karina.
Okay, hi. I have a question about my husband. He has kidney. Do you hear me correct? Because
Yes.
I'm using my headphone. Okay, thanks. I have a question about my husband's kidney disease. He has cysts in his kidneys and also tumors. So okay, now I'm sorry. This is not good. Okay, hold on 1 second. What can I do now? I don't know what to do. I guess I go out. Hold on. Sorry for
Dori,
that.
we're probably
Okay,
gonna have to mute.
no.
Okay.
Well, now we can't hear her because she's muted herself.
Okay.
No, okay, now. Sorry for that. And thank you for your patience. So my question is, what can we do about removing the cyst, because he's just before getting a surgery? And so what protocol would you recommend? I know there is no healing promises, etc. But what kind of protocol would you recommend if it would be your husband, for example, to remove the cysts on the kidneys, because they're pretty big and they want to have surgery? And we just started yesterday with clean slate, 1 drop in 1 liter. So I'm not sure. Do you have special recommendations?
Well, I have always had I think I've said this on these calls. Because of being so young and having Lyme disease and then cancer, I've had a lot of health issues, and I had kidney stones, many kidney stones, and kidney issues actually with kidney functioning levels. And then I started detoxing heavily. And I've been fine for the last, since 2014, 2015, I got a lot better, 16. And I've said this many times, I actually worked on a zeolite formula. It's very similar, but also very different than the clean slate. and did a bunch of different formulas, and I was given samples for free, and never made money off any of that. To this day, I've not accepted money. I don't even know if Dori knows this. She probably does. From Clean Slate. For me, that's a product that really helps people. And I kind of just want people to have it. And my first predominant goal was not anything to do with money. And Clean Slate is something that I feel like if you have issues with your organs, if you have in your different parts of your body, it's very important. If it were my husband or someone in my family, I would start with that. And then I would make sure that they got up to the higher dosing with that to help detox. And then I would use supplements like Restore and Relive Greens. That being said, when you have, it depends on what's going on with your husband, which is why, again, we don't give medical advice because of the fact that some people have like tumors or different things in their organs, like in their kidneys or their liver, and they can't tolerate a lot of change, like a lot of Restore or a lot of Relive Greens. So you have to start with a smaller amount. And I hate to not give you answers, but it's really hard because when you have tumors, and I've had tumors, look, I had a brain tumor, I had a spinal tumor, and I was able to help myself through a lot of natural means. So I'm not saying it's not possible, but it takes time, it takes work. And then of course you have doctors, and I never ever tell someone not to do something because of the products. I just tell them to, try the products and see if it'll help. I think that you're going to have to ask him questions such as, how does he feel, during that whole process? Dori, you may have additional recommendations. I have such a hard time with it because I make the products that I never want to say the wrong thing, because my prayer will be, and I will focus on this, that he gets better. And hopefully these products can help him in some small way. Dori, do you have
Yeah, I
comments?
do have something to say, because I think like in any circumstance when it's something like that, you do need to work with your doctor. I mean, you need to.
Erlebt haben. Darüber möchte ich jetzt sprechen mit Claudia Major. Sie ist Expertin. I don't know what's going on here.
Yes,
Sorry.
I think you need to work with your physician, and sometimes even working with the physician, and even if, say, for example, if surgery is necessary, the products can help, like to help in terms of restoring the, would you say that, Christina, like more of to help to assist the body, to assist the body in the healing process, because your body ultimately is what's going to heal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So the products are used, you use the products to assist the body to heal itself. But I would definitely work with your doctor if it's something major. Absolutely. We always say, like, say, for example, in the stem cell field, we have patients that will have, say, for example, they have debris in the knee, right? We know that debris in the knee is going to cause inflammation. So there's no point in actually putting the stem cells in the knee like that unless the debris is gone. So a lot of times what they do is they'll go have the surgery first, and then they'll have the stem cells. So that's kind of the point I'm trying to make. I don't know if this comes across clearly, but I would definitely, you need to work with your doctor on this, and share with them what it is you want to do.
Well, I mean, the doctor, he has no doctor who is open to those kind of products at all. So it's strictly the school medicine, which they recommend here in Germany. So we are pretty much on our own. So, but if I did understand you right, like Clean Slate, Restore, and the greens, right? This is what I understood what you said. Christina, right?
Yeah, because they're just natural minerals and supplements. It would be like eating a salad, with the grains, except for it's more concentrated and you don't have to worry about the wheat and gluten. And Restore is a very concentrated formula too. You could go eat turmeric, black cumin seed, but we sourced it in a way, I did, so that you wouldn't have to worry about the allergens and all the things that can be associated with other things you eat. That's why in most countries they're considered food supplements almost, right? Because of what they are. But again, you're right. A lot of doctors aren't, and you know the story, they're not going to say anything. They would just say, go eat a chocolate cake if you want. Do you know?
And most of them are not going to understand it anyway. So, but I'm just saying, like I had 18 different cardiologists, right? And I would show them all one I would always work with, and I would show him everything I was doing. And he always poo-pooed everything, but I always came with the research. But it was just because, when you're living in I live in Norway. So, and we have socialized medicine here. So what we don't want to do is to alienate them, right? Because it's a small country, but in Germany, it's a little bit different. But again, it's about giving your body the tools it needs to help heal itself.
Absolutely. That's what you're doing. And you're giving it the ammunition. It's kind of like in your body, you've got all these pathways, you've got all these different mechanisms, but if you don't have the ammunition, the gun's not going to go off when you have a gun, right? You've got to have the ammunition. Your bodies, the cells have to have the ammunition. So you're giving them the power they need to help fight all these things. And so the more you give them that ammunition, the more you give them that power, the better your body can do at fighting things.
Okay, I understand. Thank you. Thank you so much. So would you go higher in the dosage or starting lower? Lower probably, right?
Well, I'm sure that they told him to start lower because of the fact that he's got what's going on. So yeah, I think that's great. And you would just work up to a higher dose. I would try to work up to a higher dose, but he needs to make sure he's feeling okay while he's doing it. And like Dori said, she says that because, we have to say, talk to your doctor.
Of course, sure. I understand. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dorina. Thank you, Karina. Do you have a question?
Is it me? Sorry.
Yes, it's you.
Yes, thanks. I've got quite a few customers with leaky gut, and I obviously recommend Clean Slate and Restore. And I'm just wondering, how long do you reckon it takes roughly for a leaky gut to heal? Or, do we have any idea how many months it takes, or when using Restore and Clean Slate?
I can tell you that the experience I have with the leaky gut with people that they have to take more than one Restore. I think I've said that before, and I hate to even say that because I know, it just takes a while. And I don't think it takes that long. Like with me, I saw results in, a couple of weeks. It took like 6 to 8 weeks until I really saw major results, because I've always had issues. I think I said that again with the GI, and I think it goes back to, again, Lyme disease and cancer and everything that I have had. But if I don't take Restore, for example, for a week, it's not good. Or for 3 or 4 days, like when I ran out in Ethiopia because I was giving it all away, I didn't feel great. And it took me a while to get back to how I felt better again. And I know, here's my opinion. When you age with the heavy metals that are in the environment and the toxins, most of us have issues with leaky gut. You got to help repair it. And so it can take some time. I hate that I'm saying that, but I'm just being honest with you so that you know my experience. And Dori and I know we have case studies where it was like a couple of weeks. And again, I think they will start noticing a difference, but it can take a lot longer to really heal the body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Verena, everyone's unique, everyone's different, everyone has different environmental toxin, the load that they have, everyone's different that way. So it's going to be very individualized and in terms of how that's going to happen. Thank you for your question.
Okay.
Lady Sunshine. You're welcome.
Hey, Dori, I hate to tell you this, but I think we're going to have to end because I've got people in the office.
Okay.
So we will just have to answer more questions next time, if that's okay.
That's fine. Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. But next time we'll put aside some time to answer questions.
Thank you. And I apologize to you. I'm really sorry, but we'll answer more next time.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
Same to you. Bye. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.